For a conventional barbell deadlift, you'll start off with your barbell down on the floor. If you're just using the barbell, it's better to have it on a little bit of a lift because it is harder unless you have super mobile hips to reach down very far. So usually about 6 inches off the floor is a good place to start. From here, you'll have your feet usually about a shoulder width wide, but if you have any variations in the hips that need to be either narrower or further apart, then go ahead and make those adjustments. Just make sure that you're able to set both feet completely flat on the floor. You'll hinge the hips back, so pressing the hips back, flat back, softening in the knees, and we're reaching to the sides of the leg in order to lift. So rather than kind of reaching in front or in the middle, we're actually reaching off to the side in order to set ourselves up for this lift. Okay? And from here, grabbing hold, we're trying to keep the bar super close to the shins, so not allowing it to move forward, instead right underneath us. And it should be that the knees are just below the hips and the hips are just below the shoulders. So we're getting a little bit of lift here out of the chest before we go to lift. Shoulders are slightly in front of the bar, that way the weight stays centered underneath the body. From here, you'll breathe in, brace the midsection if you know how to do that, basically tightening up in the core, and then pushing through the feet to lift the barbell, keeping it as close to the legs the entire time. And then as you go to lower, going to the same thing, sliding down the legs to place the bar back on the floor. Remember, it is a deadlift, which means that it is supposed to be at a dead stop before lifting again, unless you're doing a different type of exercise where you're trying to ballistically move through the movement. Just make sure you don't have any added arm movements. You can feel that the shoulders are actually being pulled down toward the hips to tighten up in the midsection before you lift, especially if it's a heavy lift, but try not to do anything weird like shrug the shoulders or bend the elbows to lift the weight up any higher. It doesn't need to go any higher. Just lift your body up, press the hips underneath you to where the spine is neutral, and then allow the hips to glide back as the barbell glides down the legs to set back down on the floor.